Hi, everyone. Welcome to Entrepreneurship by Design with Dr. C. I'm so glad you're here with us today because we have a very interesting guest with us. Before we get into that, I want you to think about the last time you felt confident about starting your own business. What killed your confidence? Unfortunately, so many of us either never try or try half-heartedly to become an entrepreneur. After remembering his golden why of helping others live a better life, Colin was able to take action and reach for his passion. Colin C. Thompson, founder and lead coach at Oligye Enterprises, is a certified life and positive intelligence coach. And through sharing his own experiences with you, you will gain new insights on betting on yourself and starting that business that you've always dreamt of. And thank you so much, Colin, for being here today. It is such a pleasure to have you. And I would love for you to just dive into your journey, how you got here today, and then we can go a little bit deeper.
Well, Dr. C, let me first say that entrepreneurship or solopreneurship is not for you, okay? You do not have what it takes to start your own business. Other people, yes, but you, no, okay? So that comment, those are the things that I help my clients understand are internal lies they tell themselves. Because as you know, when you want to start your own business and really go for it, you have to have an inkling of belief. You don't have to believe all the way, but you have to have an inkling of belief that you can actually do it. So my journey to getting here on your podcast today, it started many a moon ago, and I'm very happy to say that by failing upwards, and gosh, I'm tired of failing, but failing upwards, I have been able to have the experience, my personal experience, to apply to my clients to help them really get past their saboteurs, get past their mindset, their scarcity mindset, and really develop the skills and passion to go into their own business or to go into a goal, a new career, something they want to achieve that will improve their life. Because if they improve their life, odds are their family's life will improve and their friends' lives will improve.
Right. Absolutely. And at first, when you said that comment, I was like, wait, is he talking to me? But you're so right. It's so funny because I think a lot of people do have that idea of just like, well, it's not for me, or they already like kill their confidence before they even can start it or even try. Like when I was introducing you, that's a big message that you embody. And I'm really curious, reflecting on your own experience and journey as an entrepreneur, what are the main factors that initially killed your confidence and held you back from fully pursuing your business?
I think, well, I started as a hustler back in, I'm going to say 1990, let's say 1993. And if I go back a few more years before that, back in 1989, I was a waiter in Louisville, Kentucky at a restaurant called Steak and Shake. And as a waiter, that was my first time learning that the better you treat your customers, the higher your tip was. And that really came from, yes, how good the food tasted, but really came from how I communicated with the customer. If the food was terrible, but I still communicated good, I still got a good tip. So I knew that taking care of people was very, very important for how they treated you. So flash forward, when I was in university, I mentioned I was a hustler. I was trying to do everything I could to make extra money. And one thing was I was, you could say I became a loan shark, meaning people wanted to go party from Thursday to Sunday university party. People wanted to party but had no money. I was on scholarship, so I had a little extra change. So I would give loans on Wednesday, due back on Monday. And by the way, between that time, I had your computer or your monitor for collateral to make sure I got that money back. So I always had that hustle mindset, not entrepreneur, because as I got more mature, graduated college, and became more of an adult, I was very intimidated by starting my own business. It wasn't until maybe 5-6 years ago I became okay with it, because the title entrepreneur, seeing people who succeeded, the more people who succeeded, the more I felt I couldn't, because I just didn't feel like, you know what, I can talk to you, I can convince you on this, I can motivate you, but I'm not really good on doing the books. I'm not really good on sales. So I never saw myself as an entrepreneur. But I'll tell you what happened. I was very fortunate to leave my organization I was working for, and I had a choice, sort of a fork in the road. Do I go left or do I go right? And the backstory is I left the United States to come here to China in 2008 working for IBM. And I stayed with IBM through 2018. And while with IBM, They saw something in me that I knew I had in me. I'm glad they saw it also. And while I was still managing my full-time job, they asked me to become an internal coach to a subset of our employees. And that really changed my desire to go into business. I knew I had to go into business. I'll give more background on that later, but I had to do it, but still sort of worried about it. So in 2018, IBM gave me a choice. I can move to Beijing from Shanghai. And I was like, well, my wife's like, no, we're not going to Beijing, or I can leave IBM. So I took the buyout, and I said to my wife, honey, I said, I think if I don't do this now and go into my own business, I don't think I ever will. And luckily, she said, go for it. So that's when I said, you know what? I still don't see myself as an entrepreneur or small business owner, but I do see myself as an effective coach. So I first went forward saying, I'm a strong coach. I'm a coach, my own business, but I'm not an entrepreneur. And a lot of people still will say, I'm doing this, but I'm not really what you would call an entrepreneur.
Interesting. And, I think a lot of people do struggle with that in the term based off of just what they're doing and how they're going about it. But I feel like when you're doing your own thing, it's never one way. It's never very simple of like, okay, you do this, this will happen. There's a lot of trial and error and a lot of setbacks and challenges that we do face as entrepreneurs. And I'm curious, what have been some of the challenges that you have faced while building your coaching business?
The biggest challenge that not just myself, but a lot of coaches have, or a lot of individuals who go more into some of these sort of services as solopreneurs. Mm-hmm. We spend a lot of time focusing on our skill. So Dr. Carolyn, I want to make sure that before I come to you and say, you know what, tell me about your life, about your goals. Perhaps I can help you stay focused and get past some obstacles that have been in your way. Before I can do that, I must make sure I know how to do that. So a lot of coaches will go through a 6 month, a 1 year, some sort of certification program where they're learning fundamentals of coaching. Mm-hmm. Some coaches don't, but the better coaches do. Mm-hmm. So much focus is put on our ability to coach, but almost zero focus is put on how to run a business. Yes. And so one of the biggest struggles I had was, let me tell you, you give me an hour with you, we're going to coach. We're going to coach. And this was 1 hour. And after 1 hour, you might not sign on to be my client, but you will have more belief in what you're trying to do. And you'll have one action to take in the next 3 days to get you to build up some momentum. Mm-hmm. The challenge I had, though, was I couldn't find any clients. Mm-hmm. I did not know how to market, promote, build a brand. I did not know how much I should charge per hour. And one of the biggest challenges new coaches have is how much do we charge? Because we don't know what we're worth. And so many people have a dilemma, especially artists. How much does some artwork for? Nobody's going to buy it. So my biggest hurdle initially was really understanding how to manage the business side of the business as opposed to just being able to coach.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it's so interesting because when I had started my coaching business, I no longer coach, but when that was my issue of finding clients. And I thought, it will be simple. I was a therapist. I can do this. I had to do that and get my own clients there. And I thought it would be as simple, different states, different capacities. But I think the coaches do struggle with being able to find clients and build the business because the coaching part, they got, but it's the aspect of actually finding the clients, doing the marketing, building everything on the back end of things can be really challenging, especially when you're running a business and there's so many of those setbacks or challenges that you're facing in regards to that. But how important is resilience and attitude of continuing to move forward, continuing to try if determined to be successful?
It might be the top 3 of the most important factors to succeed, and not just in coaching, but in any business, quite frankly, in life. And to me, resiliency means that you keep going. You keep going, you keep going, you keep going. Now, specific to coaching, there are several different types of coaches. I don't mean the specialties. I mean their focus on coaching. And I'm going to talk about 2. Mm-hmm. There is the part-time coach, and a part-time coach may have a full-time job. The part-time coach may be a spouse who's not working, and wants to do this on the side. Then there's the other coaches who are doing this as their full-time job. And the mindset is very, very different. A lot of coaches who are doing it as a full-time job, they have bills to pay, and bills must get paid. So they spend more time being nervous about what they're lacking. They spend more time saying, wow, I don't know how to get clients, less time coaching. Whereas the part-time coaches, they may take more of a laissez-faire attitude, saying, well, my bills are paid, so let me just try not to stress myself out on building a business. Let me just enjoy enjoy what I get out of coaching people and helping them reach their goals. So they may coach for free. They approach coaching differently. So I think that being able to specify the different types of coaching is important. And for coaches like myself who are doing it on a full-time basis, we really, really have to, again, give equal focus to the business side and equal focus to the coaching side. So I think for me, how do I say, resiliency, or the when you realize that, okay, this is real. And what I mean by that is, it's 2023 now. In 2021, I want to say November-ish, I woke up in a cold sweat for the first time in a long time. And I said to myself, holy SHIT, what did I do? Yeah. Because I burned my boats. And you know the term burning your boats. Mm-hmm. I said, when I left IBM, I said, I'm going to go and be a coach and really lean into it because it aligns with what I'm doing and I love it. I am not going to work on my resume. I'm not going to update it. I'm not going to submit one. I'm not doing that whatsoever. Luckily, I had cushion, the passion I got from IBM and my financial plan. I was okay. I didn't have to go down and get a job next day. So due to that, I said, I'm going to burn my boats. Okay. I'm Colin Thompson. I can coach. You put me in a room, I got it. Mm-hmm. Fast forward a few years, and the coaching journey as building a business, I'm still here, but it's not next day you're a millionaire, nothing like that. It's slow growing. And I woke up saying to myself, okay, I've been doing this at that point for about 4 years. I have clients. I still have to generate more and more revenue, but I did not. What if it doesn't work? I've been doing it, and golly, I don't have a backup plan. And Dr. Carolyn, I was shook. That whole day, I was walking around very, very concerned. And I remember being inside, and that same day, my wife sent me a picture of my kids. And at the time, my daughter was maybe 8 months, and my son a year and a half. And they were behind where we live, there's a big park. And my wife took a hammock out there, string a hammock up, camping hammock. And my kids were in the hammock, swinging back and forth without a care in the world. Mm-hmm. And I saw the video and I said, okay, they have no idea what's going on right now in my head. And they don't care. And instantly, I switched my mindset and said, okay, Colin, your boats are burned, but you see these two here? You have to succeed. And then it went from, oh, I have all these holes in my process of building a business, to, wow, I have so many opportunities here to build this business. And once I made that mindset shift, it helped me because me going through that day and a half, mm-hmm. It helped me with my clients who are going through that now. I felt that. And I also felt the worry, but I also felt that shift. So we talk about resiliency. Resiliency is when you don't know which way to go, mm-hmm. but you still go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so well said. And I love that example, because for people who don't know what the burning your ships means, the mentality, I know you kind of went over it a little bit, but can you go a little bit more in depth of what that means and the mentality?
Absolutely. So there's several different references for this. So I'm going to go back to when I heard it. When a invading country, invading army invaded a country, they would sail across the ocean to that land. And what they would do, they would say, look, we're going to burn all of our boats so that we have no retreat. We can't retreat. The only way for us to get back home is if we win get their boats or build more boats, but we have no retreat. So sort of you're not giving yourself a way out. And this is very, very important because a lot of my clients now, whom when they want to start their business, they are really, really motivated. And I say, okay, you're motivated, you believe in yourself, let's do it. And they'll say, well, I could take this job if it doesn't work out. And sometimes, Dr. Carolyn, because they have that out, they don't put everything into building the business. They don't put everything into finding a new career. They don't put everything into doing what they want to do because they know, well, if it doesn't work, I have this out. So when you burn your boats, you don't give yourself an out, which means you must put everything in what's in front of you, not what's behind you.
Mm-hmm. It's so true because I've seen it in so many different capacities, but I think when you have your back against the wall or you see a video of your children and that's your motivating force to like, no, there's no other option. I was talking to somebody the other day about this and it's option C. There was no other option, but this was it. This was the only one that was going to make it work in what that person wanted. And I think that's a huge part of a testament to the work you're doing and helping people. And, you mentioned how there's different types of coaches, different capacities. And I know you're a certified life and positive intelligence coach in particular. What strategies or techniques do you recommend for entrepreneurs who are struggling with maintaining the confidence and motivation throughout their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, Kira, so that's a great question. I want to say one thing first. I want to make it very clear that I am not implying that you shouldn't give yourself an out when you're going into a new business, right? Because for some people, they need that security. For some people, they don't need that. And I got to tell you, so there is no right, no wrong. Both. I mean, I've seen people succeed that have an out, don't have an out. I think people not succeed that have an out, don't have an out. So there is no which one is better. It's what fits better for you. One thing is, as a positive, intelligent coach, one thing we all want to do is we want to help our clients build up their mental fitness. And mental fitness, if I ask you, Dr. Carolyn, to define physical fitness, how would you define physical fitness?
Well, my definition would be working out, putting energy into it. So some kind of movement, some form of movement. Correct.
So if you have if you're in good physical fitness, you can go run a mile and maybe the mile doesn't really hurt. If you're in poor physical fitness, 1 mile may really, really hurt. That first that first 2 minutes of running may set you back. Legs get heavy, breathe heavy. By the time you cross that 1 mile marker, maybe you're walking, and maybe you don't even finish. Mental fitness is very, very similar in that it's built up over time. To be in a good physical fitness, you must build up over time. Mental fitness is our ability to go through this wonderful, crazy, hopefully long thing called life while maintaining a positive mentality, a positive mindset. And the reason that's important for entrepreneurs is you have to have that I can mentality. So a lot of new entrepreneurs, they start and they believe in their craft, they believe in their passion, they believe in what they want to do, but they may have some doubt in other areas. For example, if I'm an artist, I know how to paint, I know how to dance, I know how to sing. I don't know how to do the business side. Perhaps I am somebody who has the MBA, and I'll tell you what, I know how to balance the books, I know how to run a business, but I don't have a good idea. So there are always different gaps that people have, but you have to have that positive mindset, because if you don't have a positive mindset, increase doubt, fear, insecurities, and those really cripple not just new entrepreneurs, but they cripple people who've been in the business, had own business for years. So one of the first things we try to work on is believing not that you're going to have a business that lasts 5 years, believing that you're going to have a business this time next year. And what can you do to make sure that next month, next 3-4 months, you're still in operation and you're building and growing bigger and better, and finding a way to really fill in those gaps. But you have to have that positive mindset first, because again, having a positive mindset, at the end of the day, you'll say, I don't know what to do, but I'm going to do something, as opposed to, I don't know what to do. Let me slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to just knowing what your why is and being able to understand why you're doing something, what is the motivation behind it. And I'm really curious because I know you mentioned the moment when you got the video from your wife with your children, but was that the moment or a specific turning point of realization when you rediscovered your why and regained the motivation to take action towards your passion?
Absolutely not. No,
Awesome. I didn't think so, but I never like to
yeah,
assume.
absolutely not, because my why never wavered. My
Mhm,
how was what was sort of um
mhm,
shaky. I have a term we use with my clients. When you start to wobble, my why was my how was wobbling. My why came back in 20, I can tell you the year, 2016. I was again working with IBM. Now my background is I used to call myself the motivator. When I
mhm,
was in high school, now little Al Bundy moment, but I was very, very good in sports. Okay, I still am a very good athlete. So it was, as a team captain, it was my job to motivate the team. My football coach would say, "Colin, get your team motivated. Go, go, go. Get them ready to go." Wrestling coach, Colin, get your teammates motivated, ready to go. So I always was big on motivating. I told you about my stick and shake time with the waiter, learn how to talk to people to get them in a good place. So I was always good on motivating people. You can, you can, you can, you can. You know what? If you can look up, you can get up, right?
yeah.
That was my thing. But Dr. Carolyn, the problem was, or the challenge was, or the opportunity was,
Mhm.
if somebody will call me on Friday, say, Colin, you know what? I'm going through A and B. I need some encouragement, some motivation. Can you help me out? I would motivate them. They would go run through a brick wall on Friday. On Thursday, brick wall. Sunday, I'm sorry, Friday, Saturday, same thing. On Sunday, they could not run through a paper mache wall because their motivation was gone. And again, they would come back. And I find that motivation is very strong,
Mhm.
but it's short lived. It's very, very short lived sometimes.
Yeah.
So in 2016, I mentioned in IBM, they asked me to become an internal coach. And after my first coaching session, I said, oh, this is different. Because seeing somebody have an aha moment and saying, wait a second, and they see something they didn't see before, and they come back to me 2 weeks later and say, Coach Carl, what you told me or what you helped me see helped me do this. And I said, wait a second, that's not motivation, right? That's coaching. And that's when my why became apparent, why I'm doing this. Because my mission, my why is very simple: to help people improve their lives. And when I
Mhm.
found the power of coaching, I said, wow, if I can marry my motivation with my coaching, which you kind of shouldn't do, then I'm going to be so powerful. So my why was back then. So my why hasn't changed. My why has only gotten more refined. Back then, my why was, I want to help people identify their goals and live a life with passion and live a life with purpose. And that was just too, it was too much. Uh, Now my goal is to help people improve their lives. That's the
Mhm.
why.
I love it. And I think that's what it's about, right? When we improve other people's lives just by giving them the tools, the resources, and through coaching, because you're right, motivation can only last so long, but it's really taking the action steps. And when you're not motivated, still doing it in order to do it. And that's where that why has to be so strong of whatever it may be and what you're helping people do, as well as living their best life and living life on their terms, essentially. And I'm really curious if you can share, because I know you've worked with so many different people, so many walks of life, but what story or success story that you could share with us today of a client who was able to overcome and really gain that confidence and successfully pursue their entrepreneurial dreams with your guidance?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So many. It's interesting how we define successful clients, but there is one client that comes to mind, and I have to say that even now, I check back in with her, I want to say every 6 months.
Mhm.
And all I say to her is, I told you so. That's all I say to her. That's all I say to her. Is, I told you so. Forward text, right? And she always replies back laughing, 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 because she knows the truth.
Yeah.
So she came to me, I want to say maybe 2 years ago in 2021. I was doing a special promotion for teachers. Now here in Shanghai, in China, one of the top careers for foreigners are teachers. In
Mhm.
China, there's so many international schools, so many bilingual schools. I think education is, I think the number one employment of foreigners here in China. So you have a lot of teachers here. So for teachers, I want to say month, I think it's October, I think it is September, October, somewhere around there. I did a special promotion, and she signed up for my coaching. And she said, Colin, I like teaching. It's safe. It pays very, very good. But her passion, my passion is to write children's books. And she had a children's book in mind. Colin, I grew up, she was from, I want to say she was from Portugal, Spain. And she said that her grandmother's house is very vivid in her mind. And she wants to do a story about her grandmother's house. And she wants to draw the house and tell the stories about how she grew up in her grandmother's house. Very, very passionate. And I said, okay, that's great. Why haven't you done it? When are you going to do it? She goes, well, I don't really think I'm a good author. I said, so tell me about that. Her father was a published author. She had not published, but she had written a few things, and people loved it. But she still didn't have the confidence to really put it out there. So she said, Colin, I have these 3-4 chapters done. And it took us, I want to say, a good 3-4 months just to unpack and uncover what she wanted to do, why she wanted to do it, and how much she was willing to put in for it. What I mean by that is she going to, in the corner with the lights off, under a blanket, talk about she wants to be an author, or is she going to go to the spotlight in front of everybody and say, this is what I want to do, this is who I am? So it took us some time. And I said to her, I said, okay, what scares you the most about this? She goes, Colin, sending my transcript to different editors. That scares me the most. And then I said, listen, okay, so if that's the case, then that's what we must do next.
Yeah.
And within a week, she sent it to five editors, five, well, not 2 months later, a bidding war, literally a bidding war for her work, just off of a few chapters. So to me, so with her, it wasn't so much that she got the belief by herself. The reaction she got from the publisher, the editors, that's what made her really believe in herself, which is sort of good and bad, right? Because if had they rejected her, then she would let their disapproval impact her. But she had a tremendous fear of rejection. And when she got rejected, it'll take her way back. So she didn't want to really put herself out there again. But once she did and got that feedback, it literally changed her life. Because now she wasn't a teacher who kind of wants to be an author. She was an author who also teaches, which is very, very different.
Yes, it's so different. And I love that you shared that story because it just is a testament to the work together. But it was inside of her the whole time, but you were able to guide her to get there and shine her own light. And it ended in a bidding war. Like, that's incredible. But I think there's a lot of times people hold back because the fear of the unknown. There's uncertainty when you're putting yourself out there, but she was able to, and she was able to really step into that light. And that's a testament, again, to the work and being able to realize she was capable. There was the motivation behind it, but then the action steps that followed with that. And the most scary thing for her was to release it, bring it to the editors. And you're like, that's the next step we're doing.
Absolutely. And it goes back to mindset. You talked about mindset earlier. And I recall your podcast with Petra Fisher. And she talked about how when she's on LinkedIn, she's not looking for clients.
Yeah.
Clients should find her. Right. And I really like that, because a lot of times as coaches or as new solopreneurs, what you were saying, how can we find clients? How can we find clients? How can we get clients? As opposed to, how can they find us? And when you look at it like that mindset, it means that, wait a second, when I'm walking down the street, approach me because I'm somebody, as opposed to me getting allowed to approach you. So it's the mindset of, I am worthy, I can do this, I have the skills, right? I have a skill set that people want. More importantly, I know what pain you guys are going through, and I know, and I have the relief, because as coaches, as business owners, all we're doing is giving our clients relief of something they're going through. So it's very important that we understand what they're going through, but they know that we understand that, and we have the relief that they're seeking.
Absolutely. So well said. And you're right. I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning, it's looking for clients. But when you're showing up as such, as the expert in that field, people start to come to you. And like that's happened with one of my businesses. I unintentionally started a business and people just started coming based off of how I was showing up. And it was just me, authentic me. And I think from what you're saying too, there's an essence that happens when you're just showing up and doing the work, because it is that mindset shift too. Like we're acting
Right.
as if, but we are, but being able to bridge that together. And I think it reduces the stress around it, like what you were talking about earlier, when you're stressing about like, well, I need to get a client, especially if it's a part-time versus a full-time coach, and what that looks like and how that transpires when we have these conversations, of just realizing how that can really transform or transpire. And I'm really curious because I know with a lot of the individuals you have worked with, you've helped them gain that confidence in themselves and that courage. What are some of the tools or practices you have found most effective in helping those individuals taking those first steps, just like the client you already mentioned? But what is that, those tools for you?
I'm writing that question now because I want to go back to one thing you said before. And I
Yeah.
know I'm doing a terrible job of answering your questions directly, but
Yeah.
you're saying some very powerful things. I
Yeah.
want to go back to the term you use called expert.
Yeah.
How would you define an expert, Dr. C? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. I love it. Well, how I would describe an expert is somebody who's put in the time and energy and effort into their respective field. And, there's a saying, you become an expert after 10,000 hours of work in one area. I feel like it might not be that exact amount, but I think it's when you've done the work yourself, or you're very aware of things, you've done the research, you've implemented it and taken action in those respects. But I think that's what really defines an expert. I don't think somebody can just be like, I'm an expert in this and have no knowledge base whatsoever. But I think after time and the practice and putting in the work, you can become an expert in that.
I really think your answer is 99.99.99% correct. And the only reason I put that 0.0001% is because it is 2023 and perception is reality, which I hate. I really, really hate that, because now I tell a lot of, not my clients, but people, if people are coming to you for answers in a certain area, you're an expert. They think you're an expert. For some reason now, if you post a lot of smart articles on LinkedIn or in social media, people think you're an expert. And when they come to you, they're going to come to you with a very intriguing question. You get the question, go back, do your research, give them a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it further shows that you are an expert. So what I'm saying is you don't have to. I hate the term "fake it until you make it." I hate that term because that's just garbage, right? But
Yeah.
if people put you at that expert level, your responsibility now is to stay at that level and make sure that anybody who comes to you for assistance, guidance, help, you can give them what they need, right? And it's very easy now to say, hold on, I'll be right back. Matrix, plug it in, got it, right?
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
easy. It's very, very easy to do that. But I want to go back to
Well, before
yeah,
you go to the question, I wanted to comment on that because I think that's so true, especially because we are in the age of like technology and everything along those lines. And it just triggered a thought. I've been in the solar industry for a little over a year now, a year and a half, and I don't feel like I'm an expert. However, because of each question I get, each thing, I've had to go back and, just like what you said, done the research and then responded with my answer, because I am moving into that expert role. But I think there is a lot of truth to being able to have information at our fingertips, but being able to step into that role too. I think there's room. And so I really appreciate what you said after that, because I think it does bring a perspective. With new information, we have a new perspectives, I think. So I just wanted to
yeah,
comment on that.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as far as tools, I always say less tools and more activities to build up their confidence. Because when I look at the clients I coach as far as business owners, it's less nuts and bolts. It's not nuts and bolts. It's not accounting. It's more how to believe in yourself, how to know that what you're doing is the right decision, even if it's not. So one of the things that I talk to my clients about doing, you talked about this, is developing that mindset. And one of the ways I tell to do that is we live in a different generation now. Go back a number of years, we wanted love, we wanted empathy. Now we want likes. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of business owners now look at how to build their brand, how to promote. And I'm going to say 8 times out of 10, if your age is 40 years old or younger, you're probably trying to utilize social media. If you're above 40, you're probably social media and probably LinkedIn. And not LinkedIn, but the other platforms are very tough for new business owners, are very tough for people who want to go into, because a lot of times they're going to try to find validation there. So if I want to open a floral shop and I want to build my brand, I may put a promotion out in Twitter or somewhere there. And instead of, my value on that promotion is based on how many likes I have or how many shares I have, less on doing the research and finding out what sort of arrangements do people really really want, what's going on in my community that may need a floral thing, right? There's a parade coming in 2 weeks, right? Things like that. Now it's more of trying to go viral. So I tell my clients, really put your blinders on. And if you didn't have social media, how would you build your business? Not saying don't use it, but if you didn't have social media, how would you build your business? And the reason I say that is because you may have the top floral arrangement, and it may look good, but that your post cannot compete with so-and-so caught cheating and right? So you really have to understand that there's so much information coming through. You have to look at it. Again, tools and practices are good, but you have to go back to the basics and understand how you really understand what pain is a potential client going through, and how can you reach that, and how can you reach them. And quite frankly, it might not be through social media. It might be going to events, shaking hands. Yes, you can still, not business cards, but you can still hand out pamphlets about what you're doing, because people say, oh, a pamphlet, what is this?
Yeah.
And they read it, right? They read it because it's so different. So with my clients, I try to really have them avoid those classic tools. What activities are you doing to really understand the environment, understand your clients, and then reach them on a personal basis? And once you reach them, you don't always have to go for business day one. Build a relationship with them and let them know what you're doing, and constantly remind them about what you're doing. And in time, they will react or pass your information on.
Absolutely. I think relationship building is so key to anything we do, because it doesn't have to be so transactional. I just did a post about this the other day, because I do think it's being able to build that relationship with somebody, whether you can help them or not, but you might know somebody who can, and vice versa. It's building a community. And I've talked to so many different people about this. One person in particular I talked to not too long ago about not even using social media to build her business. And I think there's something to that, because it's really being face-to-face. And I think COVID changed a lot of things for sure. However, I feel like that there's nothing like that in-person connection where you actually get to feel their energy. I mean, I'm very much of that person in person, where I want to feel their energy. I want to be able to have those conversations in person. This is the next best thing. But at the same time, when we're able to really build the relationship first, everything comes after that. Whether it's, you never know if there's an opportunity to collaborate or be a client or anything along those lines. But I think that is such a key element of knowing that it doesn't have to just be social media. There's so many other ways that are now starting to come back, like conferences and other like workshops, things that people can attend and really meet one another. Because I think that's a really key element. And even just with all the journey you have been on, what would you say are your top 2 tips for entrepreneurs that are along this journey?
For new entrepreneurs, I will say that the best tool you have is your network. So many new entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs are afraid to tell their friends and families what they're doing. Even going back to your interview with Petra, she mentioned that she was doing this on the side for a while before she told anybody. My first tip is, once you decide to go forward, tell everybody. Tell everybody. You want everybody to know exactly what you're doing, exactly why you're doing it, exactly what service you're providing or product you're providing. Tell everybody, and tell them again. because that by far, that's going to be initially your strongest tool to use for branding and promotion. The more you tell somebody what you're doing, when they hear something, and they will hear something, they'll say, oh, I know somebody who can do something like that. Or they'll say, hey, I know somebody who does things like that as well. So tell everybody. And it does two things. One, it gets your new business, your idea, your brand out in a public space. Yeah. But as an individual, it gets you over that hump, that speed bump, that fence, that fear, that obstacle of letting people know what you're really doing. It's putting it out there, and your confidence level won't go down, because people are going to say, oh, no, don't do that. Most are going to say, okay, I hear you. I'll try to support you. Right. So it helps you really, again, get your mission out there. Two, it helps you to get past that fear of sharing. And the second tip, and I went through this, I want to say 8 months ago, is really looking at, write down, take a moment and write down, what is your mission? What is your purpose? And before my purpose started out, I want to coach individuals such that I can earn an income and raise a good family, yada, 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 yada. And what I heard was, I want to coach individuals so I can raise a family, and my family can do boom, 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 boom. As opposed to my mission, my mission for my company is to ensure that other people have access to tools, information, skills they need, so they can reach their goal, so they can boom, 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 boom. So as opposed to me focusing my business on making money, it was focusing on helping people to achieve something, or to relieve their pain. And when you do that, and you do it consistently, it's a shift, because now it's not, okay, how much money can I pull in this month? No, it's how many people can I impact this month? Which is very different, because Dr. Carolyn, if you look at it, is how much money can I raise this month? That's sort of a fear. I need to raise some money. What can I do? What can I do? How many people can I impact this month? What's going to be fun? Let me go find out what they need. Let me go help them. It's a totally different mindset. So I think those two, one, really putting it out there to your network with what you're doing, and two, really shifting from the why. Are you trying to just make money, or are you trying to really help people? What is your why?
Yes, absolutely. And I love what you said about both of those things, because I think those are so key. The network piece, being able to actually talk about your business, because I talk about this a lot, but there was an Instagram reel that was like, you have to talk about your business to have a business. So you have to open, your doors are closed if you're not talking about it. And I think that's a big aspect. People want to support you in the way they can, whether it's just sharing a post or being able to tell a friend that could benefit from the service or product. But I think that's the biggest thing, is talking about it, because nobody knows if you're not promoting it, you don't talk about it, nobody else knows. It can really make your network small. So really expanding that network. I love that. And then also the why you're doing it, the impact piece. When we focus on the impact, we can help so many more people, and that starts to just flow. There's an abundance. Absolutely. I think, because I've had that same shift of my why of okay, well, I want to have financial freedom and this and that. And now it's how many people can I help their electricity bill go down for solar? It's really fun. It makes it more fun. It makes it more real, of understanding that impact. And I'm really curious, because I know you're a father too. What has it been like with fatherhood and entrepreneurship, and integrating the two? Because I feel like you've made an impact in your family, but what has that looked like?
Wow, this is a great, oh man, this is a great question, because now you're going into my personal, because this is wonderful. I got married later in life, and I'm so glad I did. I got married when I was 40. I'm 49. I got married when I was 42, 43. I had my first child when I was 40, hold on, my math is terrible, 45, around 45, or 45, 46. So now I'll turn 50 in August. And my son also he had birthday in August, but he turns 4. So when I see them now, and I have nieces who are in their 30s. So when I see them now, I understand where they're going to go as far as getting older. And surprisingly, my mindset is, wow, Colin, as far as building your coaching business, helping people, and really being able to have this through retirement, I don't have to get everything tomorrow because he starts kindergarten next year, right? In a few months. So they're gonna be here for a while. So as long as I'm doing what I'm doing and have the confidence it's gonna grow, I am good. I am good. So I look at them and they remind me that, hey man, you don't have to get everything tomorrow. We're gonna be in the house for another 16 years, something like that. So as long as daddy, as long as you're doing what you gotta do, you're making the right decisions and you're really building your business, helping people, things will be okay. So actually, because they're so young and I'm a little more seasoned, it helps me just to stay calm and say, you know what, as long as I live a healthy life and I stick around, things will be good. Don't have the fear, I must build a successful business next month. No, I have time. Do it the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And I think when we do it the right way, it can really be sustaining for long term versus just trying to do this business real quick and make millions of dollars. Like that happens for a very select few, but for the majority of us, it does take time to build something that's going to last. And I love that.
Right. And Dr. C, one thing is, I'm to your audience, you really have to, it goes back to having that positive mindset, building mental fitness. It took a long time for me to be able to have this calmness and not be worried and not be fear. Even when I get new clients, there used to be still that concern, that fear. I have a new client. Oh, my good coach. Right. You really have to build up your mental fitness over time, just as you would go to the gym. And one quick way to build up your mental fitness, if you have things in your life that concern you, or what I call a pet peeve, when you have a pet peeve, once you're able to stay calm in situations that trigger you, that's when you know you're able to build up your mental fitness. So think of a pet peeve that you have. In my house, I used to leave a toilet seat up. It bothered my wife out. Anyway, so that's a pet peeve. Find one that doesn't get you upset, that only gets you upset for a few minutes, and say to yourself, visualize the next time I see the toilet. Well, for me, it was the microwave door being open. That would always get me upset because the light's on, whatever. So the next time I see the microwave door open, I'm not going to get upset. Now visualize that for a while. I'm not going to get upset. Not going to get upset. And after a while, when I saw it open, I didn't get upset. I walked over it, I closed it quietly and carried on. That's how you build. And then once I got through that, I found a bigger pet peeve. And soon things that trigger you that are major won't do that. So for entrepreneurs, if you think about fears you have in building a business, okay, perhaps you really have a fear of posting a video of your content, let's say on not TikTok, on Instagram, or in what's the other one? Let's say Instagram. You really have a fear of putting a video out there. Okay. Do you also have a fear of putting a picture out there, putting something else out there? Find something that doesn't include you, talking on a camera. Put that out there first. And once you get past that fear, and if nobody likes it, nobody replies to it, fine. Once you get past that fear, put an audio of with an image and your voice on it out there, right? And once you go over that fear, now do a video and get over that fear. So it's really building up and getting past your fear, not tackling what really scares you first, but building up. And that's how you build up your mental fitness. And once you're able to start to know how to build it up over time, it really does impact you and help you long term.
I love that, because I do think it's those simple steps, and it's overwhelming at first, but once you get past it, it gets a little bit easier and you're able to realize, okay, it wasn't so hard. I got this now. That's how when I first did my ever Facebook Live, it was awful. This was like 6-7 years ago now, but it was terrible. And it popped up in my memories the other day and I was like, oh, like, gosh, Colin. But now I see, like, I'm much more comfortable on screen and being able to talk freely and not worry about, oh, I said like too much, or I said this too much, whatever it may be, but really focusing on taking those steps. And I love that you talk about mental fitness. And I know you have a handout about mental fitness. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's a free handout on my website. It is 5 tips to build mental fitness. Now, there is a structure to build mental fitness. This is something a little different. These are tips that you can do every day in your house, at home, wherever you are. Really, well, I tried to make this very, what I say, low entry barrier. So they're very, very easy to do, but very, very effective. I'm not going to tell you what those 5 things are because I want you to go download the and I think it's no, I think oligye.com/5 tips, I believe, 5-tips. But hopefully, Carol, you'll have it
I'll
in the
link it
show
below.
notes.
Yep.
Right. And I tell folks, if you follow these tips, you will see change. It's sort of like eating an apple. They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Mhm.
Assume that's true. Assume that's true, right? Dr. Carolyn, some folks still will not eat an apple. Okay. But for those of you that would, download these 5 tips, follow these 5 tips, and you will see change within 2 weeks, guarantee, as far as you being able to not let little things trigger you like they used to trigger you.
Absolutely. Well, I will definitely have it linked below so people can just click on it and go download it and find out those tools and being able to have those tips and understand how to do it on a daily basis. But that's going to really help start them somewhere. And I know on the back end of coaching, there's a lot of things that are moving. It's not just you coaching, you've built a business. What are some of the tools that you've used to really help exceed and excel your business on the back end?
I think with coaching, and what I love about coaching, speaking, motivating, it's very, very low tech. It's very, very low tech. So one of the things I'm starting to do now, okay, so I consider myself not old school. Well, other folks consider me old school. I know old school. I'm not old school yet. Okay, I'm old school, but I consider myself in that gray area of old tech and new tech. And for years, I said, I'm not going to do certain things. But through me having a coach, through me talking to people, I understand that not sometimes, you have to go where your clients are. You have to do what is sort of industry practice. And part of that is really building up a stronger, I'm going to say, database of clients. And by doing that, you do have to have an email list. You have to have an email list. Now there are more social media things, but the base, you have to have an email list. And I'm one who never really wanted to build an email list because I hate getting group emails. I just don't. You're telling me that I'm on a tangent. I'm sorry. You're telling me that in order for me to sign up for your A, B, or C, I must opt into your email. I understand now. I'm on the other side. Yes, you must do that. So one of the tools, one of the things I'm doing now is I'm using more tools to help capture email addresses and build up my email list. I'm reluctantly doing it, but I do understand that, quite frankly, that's something that needs to be done. You have to nurture your database. You have to nurture the people who are in that network. So I'm not going to say the name of the tool because I'm still evaluating different tools, but I think it is important that one tool is to be able to capture your leads and to be able to say, okay, now that I have these emails, now let me first understand what pain they're going through, and then send out messages or on products that are geared to relieving their pain. So that's what I'm doing now. I think it's the whole email with the email campaign. It's I forgot what the terminology is. Drip campaigns.
I'm like, I think so. I'm like, you know, it's funny. I feel the same way about emails. I have been reluctant. I actually was telling somebody this the other day. I was asked to be on a summit and I didn't have a big enough email list to be a part of the summit list.
Right.
And she was like, well, I don't think it's fair to everyone else. And I was like, I understand. No big deal. I was like, then don't reach out to me. But anyways, it was really funny because I feel the same way about email lists, but I've been talking to a couple other people since that encounter. And I'm like, okay, I do have an email list. It's not like thousands and thousands of people, but I do have a small, beautiful community. And so it was just an interesting thought because I feel like a lot of people listening might have that same conception about emails or having to have an email list. But I do agree it is important because, as I've been reminded, social media could go away tomorrow. So it's important to have it.
Absolutely. and knowing what services or how you can service the people in that email list.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. And just even when it comes to building a business, running a business, do you think anybody could run a business?
No, I don't. I was asked that question last year, and when I said no, the host was shocked. The host said, anybody can run a business. I said, look, anybody can run a business, but everybody won't. So the answer has to be no. Some people, quite frankly, don't have a desire to run a business. And some people who have a desire really don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
They don't cross their eyes. They don't cross their T's and dot their I's. So
Right.
no, I do not think that everybody can run a business. But I do think that anybody who wants to run a business, and will put in the work and have the resilience you talked about, and have a powerful why, and have a network of support, people who say, you can do it, how's it going, can I help you, they will succeed.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that statement. I feel like anybody can, but they have to have the desire, the will, and not everybody will be able to do it.
Absolutely.
And I'm really curious because I know you've been up to a lot of things and you have things in the pipeline, but what are your future goals and aspirations for the next year or so for your coaching business?
Okay, so can I go personal instead?
Yes, please.
So before the podcast recording, we talked about what's coming down, when it's going to air, and what's coming down the pike. You mentioned that this is going to air much later than my event. So I am a big believer in doing everything I can that's a passion of mine before I die. I don't know what's going to happen, so I ask it's going to happen soon. It won't, hopefully. Knock on wood. Right? Knock on wood. So this year, August, I turned 50 years old. And one thing I started doing when I was 34 years old, I started running my age in miles on my birthday. And, some years I could do it in 24 hours, some years take 2 days. This year, I'm doing it in one try, meaning instead of going out, running for 5 hours, coming home, resting, going back out, I'm going to go out one time on my birthday and run 50 miles. And I'm doing it for several reasons, but more importantly, I'm doing it as a movement this year, meaning I'm going to be recruiting people to join me, and not in running 50 miles, just doing any sort of physical activity that's out of your comfort zone. It could be 50 times around the block. It could be 50 flights of stairs. It could be 50, whatever, some multiple of 50. And we have a charity, which we're going to be donating to as well. Anybody who signs up, it's called B1G1, buy one, give one. Anytime somebody signs up, I pay for example, a meal for somebody in an impoverished area. So it's really more about people donating their time, meaning they're going to get up and they're going to exercise. Not really donating the money, because I'm putting the money in, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. And I'm doing this because I really want there to be more acts of kindness. And I'm a big fan of the United Nations, their sustainability guidelines. One of them is good health and well-being. And to me, we have to be more conscious, especially today, more conscious of making sure that people's mindsets and mental health is strong. So this to me is something on the physical aspect is very, very tough. The training, the mental aspect is very, very tough. Just thinking about what I'm going to be doing, but more importantly, getting other people involved. So I'm very motivated about this. And they can also go to my website, ColinCThompson.com/50@50. And hopefully, Karen, you put that in the notes as well. It'll be too late by the time they see it, but they can also look at it and go back and learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. And I feel like August is a great month. That's my birthday too.
What date?
The 15th.
Really? I'm 13.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. I knew
your son's in August too.
August 4th. Yeah.
That's my parents' anniversary.
Wow.
A lot of August going on. A lot of Leos. But I love that. And I love that you're giving back too, and just shining a light on the physical fitness, but also mental well-being overall too, because that's a huge soft spot for me as well, because I think it starts with the mind. Our thoughts, our behaviors, actions all play such a huge part in how we live day to day. And you're doing that through your coaching, but also you're giving back to society and charity and as well. And I think that's so beautiful.
And Dr. C, one more thing before we cut the call. And I want to really say this to your audience, to your listeners, because I want them to understand the shift that's been taking place. As a coach, over the last 3-4 years, I come in contact with a lot of people who are going through some very challenging life experiences. And if we go back 3-4 years ago, people were not open to coaching. People were not open to talking about their mental health. But luckily, I want to say even before COVID, I think 2019 is when you saw more entertainers, athletes. You think about the tennis player, Naomi Osaka. She came out and said, I got to step back because my mental health isn't right. And so many different people who had the spotlight said, you know what? My mental health isn't right. People said, what?
Yeah.
Mental health, what's that? And more people started talking about it. And now it's a buzzword. So many people are now opening up about what they're going through and the struggles. And what that means now is there are more and more ways to get support and to get help. So anybody who's going through anything, there's no need to feel shame anymore. Everybody is going through something in their head. The smart ones talk about it. The smart ones get help. Well, I shouldn't say smart ones, but those people get help. So the good thing is I see more and more vehicles out there to help people who are going through mental health issues. And that's one of the reasons why I use the term mental fitness. A lot of people still think mental health is a little, but if you say mental fitness, they're more open to talking about it. So whatever you want to call it, mental health, mental fitness, right? Talk about it and get the help and support that you need. And also be there and support people who you know that are going through something as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. I think it's so important. And you're right. So many more athletes and celebrities and people that were in the spotlight were coming out and talking about mental health, because I think it was very taboo when I started practicing, and that was back in 2011, I think. Yeah, right. 2011. So it's been a transformation over the years, I think, for a lot of individuals. But I do agree. It's really about just taking care of ourselves, being aware, talk to even the strong ones. Usually the strongest people are the ones that are suffering the most, but you don't see it. And I think that's really valuable to know that you're not alone and there is help, and there's so many vehicles now to really help people. But Colin, I've been so enjoying this conversation. Where can people find you? I know you gave us a couple different websites, but if you could let us know, and I'm going to obviously link everything below too.
Absolutely. There's two places you can find me. The first one, oligye.com. That's oligye.com. That's a platform for my coaching, consulting, and training. And there's also Colin C. Thompson, ColincThompson.com. That's my platform for more of my speaking and motivating.
Awesome. Well, definitely everyone check that out. But thank you so much, Colin, for just being so transparent and open on your journey of entrepreneurship, what it's been like, but really the change that you're making and the impact on so many individuals and their families too, because when you help one person, you're helping everyone in their network as well. So thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your journey with us today.
And Dr. Carolyn, you can succeed as a business owner. You will succeed. You will succeed as a business owner. As I started saying, you can't. Let me end it saying, you can. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I'm glad I'm on the right track. But thank you again, Colin. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What was your biggest takeaway from Colin today? He gave us so much insight, but please let us know, and we will see you on the next episode.